Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Billy. Today I would like to share with you the result of a J.Crew shirt refashion. Previously, in my video 50, I talked about very generic sort of alteration plans about that J.Crew shirt. And the primary issue that I had with that J.Crew shirt was that the collar was just so high and it's very tight, so it was just highly uncomfortable. So that was the primary issue that I needed to tackle. But then after I gave it some more thought, I decided, unfortunately, there were just not much that I liked about that shirt at all. Despite initial sort of the reason for purchasing that shirt was because it resembled the my Monster shirt by the pattern company Dress Your Body, and which I just absolutely love and which I still love very, very much. And I previously talked about making the my Monster shirt in my video 48. However, this J.Crew shirt was nothing like it, and then I just really not much I liked about that shirt, other than the fact that the quality of the cotton is very good, and also I really like the Stewart Tartan print. And so I decided to just, instead of doing a generic sort of alteration to make the shirt fit, I decided to overhaul the entire thing and just do a complete refashion. And so here is a picture of the before and also a picture of the after. As you can see, it was a complete overhaul of that shirt. The process behind this refashion was somewhat arduous, actually. Originally, I had wanted to keep it as a shirt. However, I decided also that the shoulders were also a bit too narrow for me because I have fairly wide shoulders for somebody my size. And so I decided that shirt, it would be difficult to keep it as a shirt. And after the success of the surfing dog print dress that I talked about in video 57, I decided I would turn this shirt into the bodice of a dress, and with the same sort of a shirt detail of that surfing dog dress. And so that was sort of the inspiration for today's refashion. So I went ahead and just, unpicked the seams and turned the shirt into that bodice. And so here is a picture of what the bodice looked like before I added the collar. As you can see here, the bodice of the shirt, is like requires exact pattern matching. And before I found, and also, so this color, the collar pieces are symmetrical, and also the sleeves are also symmetrical. And before, I always found to pattern match something, especially for the front bodice, to be quite a challenge, because before I always cut them out, 2 pieces at a time. Then all of a sudden it dawned on me, if I just cut one piece out at a time, I will be able to cut out the first piece, then use the first piece as my guide, so to allow me to cut out another identical piece, obviously in a different sort of direction. And that allows me to have perfect symmetry for the right side of the bodice versus the left side of the bodice. And so that's just what I did. And then as you can see, I think overall it was quite a successful effort at pattern matching. And also, the colors are perfectly symmetrical. And about the collar pieces, because obviously the original J.Crew shirt didn't have that. So, and also there was just not enough fabric to cut the collar pieces, both the top and the bottom, or the collar stand as one piece. Traditionally they would be cut on the fold, but I was not able to do that with the limited amount of fabric that I had. So what I did was I just had to connect the collar pieces, cut two sort of halves and then connect them at the center front. So so it's not very obvious, but there is actually a seam right here for the collar piece, but it's not a big deal. And but then I had to figure out what I would do with the skirt, and because this fabric is proprietary to J. Crew, so I couldn't easily just buy additional fabric to cut the skirt for this. And I actually tried to see if I could find a larger size of the same shirt on J. Crew or say eBay, so that would allow me to cut out a skirt with the same fabric. But I was not successful. I couldn't find anything that was within the price that I wanted to pay. So I scratched that idea. So then I figured, okay, the next option is to have a solid color fabric. And so generally the idea would be I would use one of the colors that are already in this tartan print. So for example, as you can see, it has the sort of brick red and darker red, and also green, sort of hunter green, and also navy blue and sort of more vibrant royal blue, and also of course white. But my preference is that the skirt would be darker in color when compared with the bodice, because I feel that way it gives a better balance versus a lighter color on the bottom and a darker color on top. And so here's a picture of what I was testing out, various color sort of options. And I didn't really have the suitable sort of fabric at home, but I just wanted to see what color works best for this shirt. So originally I had settled on a navy, fairly dark navy, because I figured a navy is somewhat forgiving, in terms of its shade, and so I could easily buy that fabric online. So that was sort of the original idea. And then because of this tartan print, I feel that the new look 6843 quarter circle skirt that I had been using for gazillion dresses didn't quite work. And so I wanted to make a pleated skirt that will go with this shirt, the tartan print. And however, a pleated skirt coupled with navy blue looks like a school uniform. Really reminded me of my junior high school uniform. My uniform was white shirt and navy blue pleated skirts. So I decided, that was not what I wanted to go. So I scratched that idea of using navy blue as the color of choice for the skirt. But I still wanted to make a pleated skirt. So then I looked around, I looked at different other options, either hunter green or say this red. And I decided this sort of brick red would be a better choice. And I actually had the perfect color of fabric in wool crepe. And so originally I wanted to use that crepe, but then I also later decided that the crepe was a bit too thick to be the skirt of this cotton shirt, because that one was not exactly a summer weight wool crepe, so it's sort of medium weight. And so I decided, okay, that would not work either. But the color I saw would work very well as the skirt for this shirt dress. And so because this color requires an exact match, so that's not something I could just easily order online. So during one of my trips to Joann, I just grabbed a piece of the scraps of this J. Crew shirting fabric, and also the other wool crepe fabric with me, and so I could compare it in person And so luckily I was able to find a cotton in Joanne that I think is a really good choice as the skirt portion for the. So this is the color of that fabric, and so that's kind of how I determine on this pleated skirt and also on the color choice for today's refashion. Once I decided on a pleated skirt, then the next question is what kind of pleated skirt. And I previously used a vintage McCall's pattern to make a dress with pleated skirt that I talked about in video 40, and I was very happy with the result. But somehow I wanted to do something a little different for this skirt. And also originally I had an idea to make a pleated skirt shirt dress with much narrower knife pleats. And so I thought that I would use this opportunity as a bit of a test run to see whether that idea works or not. And so that's what I ended up deciding. And this skirt doesn't have a pattern. So what I did was I decided, okay, I wanted the pleat to be about the size, So this case, the pleats are about 1.5 inches in the width. So that means I would mark the fabric every 3 inches and then just kind of fold it in one direction. And so here is a picture of what this fabric looks like after I pleated it up. And to determine the width of the fabric I need, and also the length of the skirt portion, I just measured, say for example, the surfing dog dress, the skirt portion. And then the skirt without the seams is 22.5 inches in length. So then that means, okay, so that's 22.5 plus about 1/2 inch of seam allowance, for the waist portion, and also about 1 inch hem. So that means the total length of the fabric that I will cut out was 24 inches. And a quilting cotton is generally 44 inches wide. So I just cut out 2 pieces of fabric that is 24 inches long and then 44 inches wide, the width of the quilting cotton, and then just connect them with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So that gave me a long piece, and that's how I pleated it. And so that was the picture shows the result of those pleats. After I finished pleating the skirt, I then went over the pleats with a hot iron to secure them. Then I went ahead and basted the top portion of that skirt, the top portion that will be connected to the bodice. So then I would secure the pleats down before I connected the skirt to the bodice. However, so it seems like a pretty straightforward process. However, I noticed that the pleats, the knife pleats, starting to kind of disappear even during the construction. The pleats would not stay pleated. And so what I decided to do was just to simply top stitch down the pleats by using the blind hand foot of my sewing machine. And my sewing machine the blind hand foot has a divider thing, and which works perfectly as an edge foot. And so it allows me to sew very straight stitching and while still staying very, very close to the edge of the fabric. And so here is a quick video of how that works. And it really works great. So it really secured down the the pleats without being too visible as a top stitching. So overall, I was very happy about the outcome. Because I'm not constructing this shirt dress from scratch, so I was limited by what was already done. And so, for example, this button placket, I was not able to unpick it because it was already, obviously it's already secured down with the buttonholes that were already in the existing shirt. And so I was not able to line the entire dress. So what I did was I only lined the skirt portion, and then so the top remained unlined. And so overall that was fine, except that it just means I have a bit of a more of a bulky waist seam because because of the color, I had to press the skirt seam down towards the skirt instead of even it out. And also the lining is also pressed down, so the skirt becomes a bit thick, but actually, because I pressed down the seam down, so it really feel fine. It didn't feel bulky or uncomfortable, so overall that was okay. After I finished with the construction of the dress, I noticed that the pleats did not sit flat, on the body, even though the pleats look straight wise, while on the hanger. And so here's a quick video of what the problem was. And as you can see, the pleats on one side, seem to sit pretty flat, but the other side, it just did not want to sit flat at all. It just, it wanted to go in a different direction. And then I realized why most pleated skirts, the pleats go in different directions, meaning that, this is the center front. So the pleats on this side will go this way, such as this side here, but the pleats on the other side will go the other direction. But since I pleated the whole thing in one direction, so that means this side wants to go the other way naturally, just because the way the fabric sits on the body. And so as you can see, this video, it just did not want to go that way. And I have learned from my last video when I was fitting the sort of camouflage looking fitted dress. I had learned that whatever the fabric wanted to do is whatever it will get. And so I just kind of played around with it and decided, okay, it wanted to go this way, so then I will repleat it that way. And so here is another video showing how the pleats were sitting on the body after I changed the position of the pleats and by pinning it down. And that's kind of see how I tested to see how it worked. And once I was happy with that, then I secured down the new pleats with a roll of pins. Then I unpicked the existing top stitching, then redid the top stitching. And that was a bit of a tedious process because there are 16 pleats total for the skirt, so I have to unpick about 6 total of the pleats. So luckily, so I did not have to redo all the pleats, but still quite a bit of work involved. But once I did that, then the dress fit very well. So overall, I'm quite happy, even though it's still not ideal just because of the direction of the pleats. So overall, I think it fits, I think it's as good as I could get it to be at this point. So that's fine. One challenge that I have in the design of this shirt dress is the choice of buttons. Traditionally, I like my buttons to be the color that is part of that's already present in the fabric, because I generally prefer the buttons to be inconspicuous. But in this case, it was difficult because obviously the top and the bottom are of fairly different coloring. And also, originally the J. Crew shirt comes with white buttons. But the white buttons I don't think would work with this sort of brick red skirt. So I just don't think it would work. And so then I had an idea, maybe I could have two colors. So the top was the bodice would still have the original white buttons, and the skirt would have some sort of a sort of a brick red buttons. But I didn't really quite have the right buttons in my stash for the skirt, so that also did not work. And also another restriction that I had was the J. Crew shirt used 10mm buttons. And so I cannot really use anything that is significantly larger because the buttons simply would not be able to go through the existing buttonholes. And luckily I was able to use these gold buttons from my stash already. And then it actually turns out it works great, even though it's not the gold, there's no gold in any of this color scheme. But somehow the gold buttons works very well. And also these gold buttons are 11.5mm, so just enough to squeeze through the existing buttonholes on the J. Crew shirt that originally were designed for 10mm buttons. So overall, I am very happy about that. And also another challenge about refashion is obviously, I was limited by what was already there. So for example, the J. Crew shirt buttonholes, they were not spaced out evenly. Some portions were 7 centimeters apart, and some portions were 8 centimeters apart. So it just kind of all over the place. And so I decided, okay, I would just go with 7 centimeters, when I space out the buttons for the dress. So at least to keep it more of a consistent look, so it would not look weird. Even though traditionally I prefer to space my buttons about 2 to 2.5 inches, in between the buttons, depending on where they should be. But at least for this case, I'm overall happy because one of the existing buttonholes is right here in my apex, and so that prevents the gaping. However, the difference is still quite large. So if I go this way, it does sort of show ever so slightly. So I have to see how it works. If say it really gapes a lot, then I will probably just add snaps here and also here, just to keep everything secure, and so I would not be flashing anybody when I'm wearing this shirt dress. So here is a quick video of the refashioned dress, and I paired the dress with a pair of 3.5-inch pointed toe heels in mahogany. And overall, I am really happy how it turned out, despite the fact that originally I had very low expectations of this refashion. And also, I am very happy that the overall look does not look disjointed. It does look like a shirt paired with a skirt. And also, I am also very happy that it did not look like a school uniform. So overall, it's a success, and I'm very happy about it. This refashion exercise, and plus also some of my thinking that I shared with you in my last video about the sort of the inferior quality used even in some high-end brands, made me realize that luckily my sewing skills have progressed to a point where now I have zero desire to purchase any ready-to-wear garments from the store at all. So for example, maybe a week ago I was walking my dog and we passed the store that had a big sign out say, all summer items are 80% off. And before, the old me would have wanted to go in and check it out. But now I have zero desire because I know the garments that I make will suit me very well, in terms of my body proportions, and would be exactly what I wanted. So I just have zero desire to buy clothes from the stores at all. And in a way, it's very similar to knowing how to cook. If you know how to cook, you can make anything that will suit your preference and your dietary restrictions. So that gives you so much freedom, and that is in a way such a liberating feeling. And so I am just really glad I found it, even though it's a little late, but better late than never. So I am really happy. And if you are thinking about making your own garments, I really do encourage you to at least try it out and see if that is something that would be of interest to you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video and also hearing about the considerations for various design elements of this refashion. So please do stay safe, be well, and I hope I will see you soon. Bye bye.